What's up, everyone? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell. Welcome back. I'm all of a sudden I'm doing Pantheon videos. What the hell? I probably won't be doing a lot of Pantheon videos, but I kind of wish that the newsletter had come out before I did the Steve Clover video because I did that video and then literally the next morning when I woke up, the newsletter came out and we got the announcement about, the death mechanic and some other stuff. But the thing that I want to talk about this video is the funding that they talked about, because I think this is noteworthy because they haven't ever actually said, from what I understand, from what I know about the project, they've never actually said the amount that they've raised. This is a moment where they're giving clarity to things, and I think this furthers my statements from the previous video where I was talking about how this has moved me into the bleachers and is now making me consider this a more legitimate project. The announcement and the transparency behind it is something that I think moves them in the right direction. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfell. If you know my channel, you know that I cover RPGs and MMORPGs, but Pantheon is something I've been on the fence about for a long time. Because of a lot of different reasons that I talk about in the Steve Clover video that I did the other day. So if you haven't watched that yet, check it out. I should remember to put it up here somewhere up in that corner. There will probably be a link. Um, most of my friends who I game with are into Pantheon. Like they are backers of this game, they're supporters of this game. If you haven't watched the streams over the past few days, there has been some healthy debate going on because they're all extremely Nathan Sparrow, Bounty Code as examples, very passionate about Pantheon. Mujin also. Um, Trips. There's some people in there who are just really good, really hardcore supporters of this game, and we've had a lot of discussions during live streams about the death mechanic in particular. I'm not a huge fan of it. This isn't what I'm going to be talking about in this video per se. I might touch on it a little bit. Um, but the point that I'm trying to make is that I don't do a lot of Pantheon coverage because of all my friends already covering it. So I usually just feel like that's enough. I don't need to populate the space. But I do feel like I can provide a slightly different take on things because of my development background. Um, so my Steve Clover video was my opportunity to kind of wade into those waters and talk about it from sort of my standpoint with my past development experience. And this is something from a business standpoint, this most recent newsletter, from a business standpoint, got me more interested in the company. Not necessarily all the things they're doing with the game, but it's another thing that, and again, I'm in the bleachers now, ladies and gentlemen. I've sat down, I've got a Coca-Cola in one hand, I've got a hot dog in the other, and I'm at the game. Like I'm here. I'm no longer standing outside on the fence wondering whether I want to buy a ticket. I technically still haven't bought a ticket though because I haven't pre-ordered, but I'm in the bleachers and maybe I'll buy a season pass. We'll wait and see. So I digress. I'm 3 minutes in and I haven't even started talking about the what I really want to talk about today, which is the announcement that they have secured another 2.4 million US dollars from private investments to help us continue. Well, I'm not going to go into all their marketing spiel. Added to the funds raised in earlier stages of Series A funding, our total investment capital raised to date is now 5.34 million. This figure is additional to crowdfunding efforts and is a huge accomplishment for Pantheon. It is a huge accomplishment. Um, I didn't raise that much money when I was fundraising for Stormhaven Studios, but I also didn't have Brad McQuaid's name behind me, which does bring a certain level of credibility to a project because of his celebrity. And now that he's passed, there are still people who want to pay homage to his legacy, and so there are people who are going to buy into this vision of what Brad laid out and what this team is attempting to accomplish. But I would like to state, and we talked about this on the stream the other night, I don't really think this is about Brad's vision anymore. This is definitely has become Joppa's vision, which is paying homage to Brad's desires to see this game released. But we're very much into it's Joppa's game now. Like this is Chris Perkins' games. So um, let's dive in a little bit. So one of my biggest issues and why I haven't pre-ordered the game to date, it's also why I still won't pre-order the game despite this announcement. Um, I do not support in any way, shape, or form games that refuse to post like timelines and deadlines. I'm happy to stand by and watch these games in development and maintain a, yeah, I'll play it if and when it comes out attitude. But you don't get a pre order from me unless you're willing to set deadlines, right? And transparency has been another issue with me because I've seen this team refactor and change the vision of the game multiple times along the way. We were talking about this the other night. For people who don't remember, I might just need to pull these out and post them. You might be able to find them online still. I did a lot of promotional videos around the Kickstarter for this project back when I was living in Playa del Carmen on the beach, making videos about what Pantheon meant to me, the past games that Brad had worked on, what they meant to me, the ways they had changed my life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's what got me the job as the first community manager um, for Pantheon. And if you look at those videos and you look at what was pitched during the Kickstarter, none of that's here today. That's gone. Matter of fact, that was all gone during the first major iteration because after the Kickstarter failed and then everybody left the team, Brad was left going, well, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to make this different. And so the vision changed and it started to become something different. And then it went through another few iterations along the way, and we're now in the current iteration. My problem with no one ever publishing deadlines is the fact that if you don't publish deadlines and you don't hold yourself accountable, then you can continue to make iterations. But I will say that when you have investors, investors do tend to hold you to some type of deadline. Now, I don't know and I can't speculate to what type of arrangement they have with private investors or what those private investments look like. But they mention Series A funding here. So the federal government has restrictions on investments. Investors need to be made aware of risks, so on and so forth. There also traditionally needs to be some type of goal in mind so that there's not just this open ended thing. So we might not know what the ultimate goal is for publication, but I would be willing to bet that investors have been given a timeline for when this product might actually hit shelves, which is why they would sign on board in the first place. Raising an additional $2.4 million, that's not an easy task. To put this into perspective, for Stormhaven Studios, we pitched for, I want to say, man, I can't talk numbers because of NDAs and stuff, and animosity between team members, which will get me sued. But I can say that we pitched for 18 months and we did not raise $2.4 million. Let's just put it that way. I can't say how much we raised, but it wasn't $2.4 million. Um, and it was a chunk. It was a chunk. It was a good chunk. I'm very proud of what we did. My name is on some really cool contracts, even though things are different these days where we are. Um, but to raise $2.4 million, you've got to have credibility, and that's where I think this is the moment for me when this should take a lot of the naysayers who were like, well, we don't know how much money they've raised and blah, 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 blah. And this is the moment that those people should actually start to be silenced because we're getting numbers now. And they said this is including, this is on top of crowdfunding. Now, the fact that they haven't mentioned crowdfunding yet, they haven't talked about the numbers from crowdfunding, I would I'm highly suspicious of that. My gut reaction is because they don't actually want to talk about that number because it's probably not as significant as they want it to be. Because when something is big, you're proud about it. You're willing to pull that thing out and swing it around and show everyone, woo, look at what I got. Like, and when it's not that impressive, it's kind of one of those things like, hey, I got one, it's here, but I'm gonna keep it tucked away. I don't need to bring it out. Um, so for me, this means that they've probably done a significant amount. If I had to guess, they've probably sold in the ballpark of between 35,000 and 50,000 pre-order copies. If I had to guess, I could be way off on that, but if I had to guess, it would be in that ballpark. So if they've raised a few $100,000, to a couple million from crowdfunding, cool, kudos to them. Um, but it's not going to be, you know, 2.4 what they've raised from this. So it is what it is. It's not a big deal to me. Man, I'm already 9 minutes in. This is going to be a longer video, everybody. So let me do my call to action, get that out of the way so we can keep on going. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get updates like this in the future. Don't forget that if you want to support the channel, you can drop a super thanks down below. You can also join as a member of the Adventurers Guild, which is that button down there. And you can also join our live streams and do super chats and stickers on the live streams. I stream every single day, mornings and evenings. Check it all out. And I also still do game dev, even though I'm not doing MMORPGs anymore. I have the World of the Weave and the Void with my brother and my wife. We are the Wandering Hermits. You can find more information at patreon.com/wandering hermits. It's a 5th edition tabletop setting. We have a source book, and the first campaign module already out right now, available for sale at the Patreon page as well as weaveandvoid.com. And we are streaming those sessions every Sunday night with myself, Nathan Napalm, Bounty Code Sparrow, Skinny, wife of my brother. Check all that stuff out. Um, so yeah, there's also a point-and-click adventure game. Demos freely available on the Patreon, and there's a book series like Dragonlance Chapter 23 just went live, so check that out as well. Getting back to this talk about the money. The other thing about the investment is that people don't understand. I feel like a lot of people don't understand just what it takes to convince investors to give you money. The number one rule of pitching is that investors are going to tell you no, 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 a lot, and you have to prepare yourself for that. Now, Brad's name does bring a certain level of credibility to the project, but he's no longer here. And since he's no longer guiding the team, they have, even though they have that name associated with the project, he's no longer here. And the team that has working on the game is an untried, untested team who have never actually launched a product before, which is why the Steve Clover hire was such a cool thing. What's really interesting is the timing on this coinciding with the investment money. So this is what probably gave them the funding, which allowed them to hire Steve Clover in the first place. We don't know the details of that, but I doubt a senior programmer of his stature is going to come on a project just for nostalgia's sake. He may. I mean, they said that he approached them, so maybe he's part of the investment. We don't know the details. So he could have come along and said, "Hey, I've got these investors. They want to get involved, but I need to be a part of the programming team." That very well could have been what happened. We don't know. I'm speculating. Who cares at this point? They're racking up more notches in the belt at this point in terms of credibility. Not understanding what it takes to get investors is something that many players is holding them back from giving this team the credit that they deserve, because you're not going to get 5 point whatever million it is. What is it? 5.6, 5.3. You're not going to get $5.34 million in investment money unless you have a product that is worth investing in. Investors don't invest in pipe dreams. They may invest in a person if they are really sold in that person's vision, but most of the time, investors want to see an actual return on their investment. They're going to want to see some type of guarantee. They're going to want to be able to be convinced that you're going to be able to get it to the finish line and get them a return on their investment. So to be able to raise that kind of funding, in my mind, suggests that they have a minimal viable product that people can actually believe in. That's not to say that crowdfunding isn't important. Crowdfunding is an important element of today's day and age, and I guarantee you that crowdfunding is a part of their success, because they wouldn't have gotten the credibility if they wouldn't have had all these people like Co Carnage and Nathan Napalm and Bazram TV and Bounty Code and Sparrow and all these other people who are fans of what they're doing, playing the pre-alpha, part of the VIP team, who are actively showing investors that we have a growing customer base despite the fact that we're only in pre-alpha. Imagine what we're going to have when the product goes live. That's a good sales pitch right there. So for me, yeah, this newsletter had a lot of stuff in it, like the death mechanic, which it is what it is. I don't fully agree with it, but like I said, I'm still going to play the game at some point. I don't have to agree with everything to play a title. But for me, the focus of this newsletter was definitely the financial announcement, and they're going to be talking about this in greater detail on July 27th with Co Carnage, which is next Wednesday. Um, so I mean, I may not tune in live to it. I'll probably wait and see what comes out. It depends on where I'm at during the day. If I'm available, I might watch it live, but I may just watch the recap because I am interested in seeing what this means for um, the the upcoming development. I'd love to see if they're actually going to finally commit to making some timeline adjustments and public announcements. I highly doubt they are, because even in this newsletter it talks about pre-alpha coming later this summer, but they don't give a date for that. So if we're saying summer, that could be all the way up until, August, September. So, I still, and I don't think alpha is coming this year. I could stand corrected on that. I think alpha will be early next year at the earliest. I don't see alpha coming. If they're not willing to commit to making a public announcement about a pre-alpha date right now, even after all these announcements with Steve Clover and the investments and everything else, I would say that means they're probably shoring up things right now to make sure that they've got a grasp on it. And if I had to estimate, it would be maybe we're getting alpha in early 2023. Maybe. We'll see. Hey guys, love to hear your thoughts. This is a slightly longer video than I normally do for my channel here. I have lots more thoughts. Maybe I'll talk about them. If you want me to talk more about Pantheon, the best way to do that, like, follow, subscribe, drop your comments below. See you next time, everybody.